1966. The most valuable prize in world sport goes on public display in London. Within days, it's gone. Not a replica, not a stand-in. The actual World Cup, the real Jules Rimet trophy, months before England is due to host the tournament. Scotland Yard's finest detectives are put on the case. A week goes by, nothing. No trophy, no thief, no leads that hold. And then it's found, not by a detective, not by a bloodhound trained for the job, but by an ordinary dog, on an ordinary walk, who wasn't looking for anything at all. Tonight, a heist pulled off under armed guard, a ransom note, a week of nothing from the best detectives in the country, and the afternoon walk that cracked the whole thing open. First, the trophy itself. The Jules Rimet trophy, gold-plated silver, a winged figure of victory, first awarded in 1930. By 1966, it's the most famous prize in football. England is hosting the World Cup for the first time. So the trophy goes on public show in London, part of a stamp exhibition sitting a few feet from £3 million in rare stamps. Guards are posted. The hall is respectable, public, watched. And on the afternoon of Sunday the 20th of March, someone walks out with the trophy anyway. No alarm, no struggle. Just an empty case where the most photographed object in English football used to be. The theft makes front-page news within hours. The football world is stunned, and more than a little embarrassed. How do you lose the World Cup? The Football Association is desperate. Scotland Yard assigns detectives. And 4 months before kickoff, the tournament England is hosting doesn't even have its own trophy. Then days later, a phone call arrives from a man who won't give his real name. The caller identifies himself only as Jackson. He tells Joe Mears, chairman of the Football Association, that a package is coming. Inside, the removable lining from the top of the trophy, proof he really has it, and a demand, £15,000, or it's never seen again. The story explodes across the papers. A stolen World Cup and a ransom note. It's exactly the kind of headline Britain can't look away from. Police set up a sting to catch Jackson at the handover. They arrest a man named Edward Betchley. But he's convicted only of demanding money with menaces, not of the theft itself. Betchley claims he was just the middleman paid by someone else entirely. He never says who. And the trophy is still missing. A full week passes. Scotland Yard's flying squad, the best organized crime detectives in the country, have a suspect in custody, and still no trophy, which meant one of two things. Either they'd arrested the wrong man, or the real thief was still out there with the World Cup. Here's the contradiction worth sitting with. The most heavily guarded prize in sport, hunted by professional detectives, and none of it is what actually finds it. Because while London's finest are still searching 20 miles away, an ordinary Sunday afternoon is about to happen. Meet David Corbett, a delivery driver living in Beulah Hill, South London, and his dog, a scruffy black and white mongrel named Pickles. On the 27th of March, a week after the theft, Corbett takes Pickles out for their usual evening walk. Nothing about the day suggests anything unusual. Then Pickles stops, pulls hard toward a hedge outside a neighbor's house, sniffing at something wedged underneath it. Corbett assumes it's rubbish or a dead bird. He tugs the lead. Pickles doesn't move. This is worth pausing on. Pickles wasn't trained to search. He wasn't a police dog. He was a dog whose sense of smell, like any dog's, runs on roughly 40 times more scent receptors than a human's, quietly cataloging every strange thing in his path. He wasn't hunting for a trophy. He just noticed that one patch of hedge smelled wrong and refused to leave it alone. So Corbett crouches down to see what on earth his dog has found. Inside the newspaper, a solid gold-colored statue, and engraved along the base, the names of every World Cup winner since 1930. For a second, Corbett just stares at it, like his brain hasn't caught up with his eyes. Then it clicks. This is the World Cup. The one that's been front page news for a week, sitting under his neighbor's hedge. He wraps it back up, tucks it under his arm, and walks straight to the nearest police station. Within hours, Scotland Yard confirms it. The missing World Cup, found not through a week of professional detective work, but by a dog who wouldn't stop pulling on his lead. A small honest note here, exactly how Pickles found it. What he did first, how long he sniffed, what happened in the seconds after, has been told slightly differently in almost every retelling since. The trophy under a hedge core of the story is solidly documented. The colorful details around it are 60 years of folklore, polished with every telling. Whatever the exact details, Pickles becomes a national celebrity overnight. Newspapers run his photo. Strangers want to shake his paw. He's awarded a medal from the National Canine Defense League. He even appears in a film. Not bad for a dog who is just out for his evening walk. Corbett is rewarded too. Several £1,000s. Reports differ on the exact figure. Enough, he later says, to help buy a house. And here's the detail that always gets a laugh. At England's celebration banquet later that year, Pickles is the guest who gets away with licking the plates. A mongrel from South London, with no training and no assignment, ends up more decorated that year than most of Scotland Yard's actual investigation. Meanwhile, the real thief was never definitively identified. One name was only proposed decades later. The case officially stayed open. 4 months later, on the 30th of July, 1966, England beats West Germany 4-2 at Wembley and lifts that very same trophy. The trophy the whole tournament is built around, sitting on that podium, only exists there because a dog refused to keep walking past a hedge. Without that one stubborn pull on a lead, England might have hosted a World Cup with no cup to hand out at all. One last twist the story rarely mentions. The trophy Pickles saved didn't last. In 1983, it was stolen again, this time in Brazil, and never recovered. Most believe it was melted down for the gold. The dog outlived the cup. It's one of the rare true stories that sounds made up, but isn't. No genius detective, no dramatic twist ending. Just a dog, a hedge, and dumb luck. Reality doesn't need to be tidy to be unbelievable. Sometimes the most valuable thing in the world is found by whoever happens to be walking by. If that made you smile, subscribe, and stay curious. Sleep well. You're a little less in the dark now. I'll see you at the next Midnight Question.